It is great to have you join us. My name is Nicole Mitchell, and I'm part of the team from Uncovering Greatness. And I just want to check in with you. If you can hear me, if you can type here into the chat box, that would be great, so that we know that you can actually hear me. So, okay, Tanya says here, great. Okay, Nicolene says here, awesome. So it is great that you guys can hear me. And as I said, my name is Nicole Mitchell. I'm part of the team from Uncovering Greatness, and I have a huge passion for helping people shift mindsets. And yeah, just really, really excited for the start of this year and what it will bring. And it's certainly been exciting so far. And the question that I'm going to ask you today is that, you know, whereabouts are you sitting in the different zones in your life, and do you know where you're sitting? And are you planning on having a red zone or a green zone year? And, you know, where do you sit? Because today we're going to talk about the topic for today is really pretty much thoughts create energy. And so it's just, are you aware of where are your thoughts? So just if I go back a little bit, I started working with a company called Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center just over 3 and a bit years ago. And the founder of Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center was a gentleman by the name of Alan C. Walter. And Alan designed what we call the charts, the zones of life. So, and are you in the red zone, the yellow zone, or the green zone? And how did Alan discover those zones? Well, he was driving home one day after a training with a whole bunch of insurance people, and he stopped at a traffic light. And he looked and he was like, well, why can't I get these people to do what I need them to do, just to make phone calls, just to reach out, to connect with people? And he was like, oh, they're stopped in life. And he said, what do we want to do? We want to put them in the green zone. And pretty much he flipped the traffic light upside down, and that's where we get the zones of life. So the green, yellow, and red zone. And people in the green zone are in the right place at the right time with the right people. Some people would term it they're very lucky. Some people would say, you know, oh, you know, you just happened to be there. Well, yeah, they were in the right place at the right time. They were green zone. And then, you know, in the red zone, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong things, and the wrong things happening to us. And often we don't even know, or we're not aware of what zone we're in. And you can be in different zones in different places in your life, but it is important to know what zone are you currently in. Because when you're in the right place at the right time and you have the right things happening and you're whinging and whining and complaining, you are very quickly going to move from the green zone back into the red zone. So it is critical that you become aware of where you're at. And when I started working with Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center, I knew that I was in the red zone. I just didn't understand why, and I had no idea how to change it. And I think it's such a key thing is a lot of people want something better. A lot of people want more, but they have no idea how to actually change it and how to go from red into the green. And if you relate to what I'm talking about, if you can type relate into the chat box, or if you're watching on Facebook, we'd love for you to type relate underneath. So Tavo says relate, Nicolene says relate, Tanya says relate. Okay, awesome. So I think it is so key. A lot of us know. So the first one is we don't know and we're not aware and we're doing nothing about it. The second one is we become aware of it and then we just don't know how to shift. And I have a friend that has had some pretty traumatic experiences in their life, and I suggested that they read this book by Alan Walters, and it's called The Secrets to Increasing Your Power, Wealth, and Happiness. And their response was, I can't face another self-help book because I've tried so many different things and I just cannot face it. And my response to them, well, actually, this isn't a self-help book. This book it's not a self-help book. It's going to give you some key tips and tools as to how to shift and change and some awareness of it. And they read the book, and it's made a significant difference, because a lot of times we're not aware of what can I do to make a difference. And when I started this morning, I said we're going to be talking about thoughts create energy. So the first thing is, are you aware of your thoughts? Are you aware of where your thoughts are going and what your thoughts are saying? Because this is what I know. Sometimes the worst times in my life are when I am feeling alone. And the reason why I feel alone is because my thoughts are so negative that I don't even want to have them. That it's just like, get me out of here, and I'm completely alone. So, it's just, are you aware of your thoughts, and are you aware of, are your thoughts negative or positive? Are they red zone thoughts or are they green zone thoughts? And just before I continue, I forgot to introduce Kristen. So let me introduce Kristen. So Kristen, my apologies. Kristen recently in December qualified as a processor. She's done the Vital Fundamentals 1 to 5. She's also a biokineticist. So Kristen, won't you just introduce yourself?
Thanks so much, Nicole, and no problem. And yeah, I'm Kristen, and as Nicole said, I'm a biokineticist by trade and just really enjoy helping people. And when I came across this technology, when Nicole introduced it to me, it was kind of like a no-brainer to be able to help people shift even more in their lives, and just to shift towards the things that they want and the things that they want to create, and help create those positive thoughts, to create some really positive energy to flow that towards their wants. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys. So thanks so much, Nicole.
Thank you, Kristen. And yeah, it's always great to have Kristen on the call, because with her being a biokineticist, a lot of the times it's so easy to relate things that physical that are connected to what we would do naturally in everyday life. So, and today's no different. So I'm really, really excited to learn from Kristen and get some perspectives from her. So the first thing is that, are you clear on your wants for 2021? So a lot of people have said, yeah, they want to have a green zone year, and they don't want to have a red zone year. So, what does that look like? And if you were to ask yourself, the first question I would ask you is, currently, do you have the available energy and power to create that green zone effect in your life? If you were to look at yourself right now, currently, are you getting out of bed and doing some exercise? Are you getting up? Are you in a position where you can actually take action? And so do you have the power and the energy to make your life green zone? Because a lot of people, to start off with, do not actually have the ability, that energy and that power to make themselves green zone. So that would be the very first thing that I would ask you is, do you have the available power and energy to make yourself green zone? So I'd like for you to type into the chat box if you think that you have the available. So just type yes if you think you do, and no if you think you don't. That would be great. So Delenn says yes, Tanya says yes, Fiona no, Gwen no, Kirsten yes, Yvonne yes, 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 Michelle yes, Colbert no. Okay, great. Tanya says yes, I just don't know where to focus it. That's great, and I would think that a lot of people would agree with you, Tanya, because there are a lot of people that they have the available energy, but they just don't know what to do with it and where to focus it. And So there's a couple of things that you can ask yourself is, in terms of your business, the first thing is, where do you want to see your business at the end of 2021? So how much, if you had everything at your disposal and everything was working 100%, how much income would you like to generate out of your business? As an entrepreneur, how much, if you've got a network marketing business, what is your target goal? If time and money were not an issue, what would you like to generate out of your business? And if, what could you see yourself being in your business? If time, energy, effort, and money were not an issue, what could you see yourself being? And it's a key thing to ask yourself, because it's important to know, where am I actually going? And then what could you see yourself doing in your business if time, money, energy, and effort weren't a problem? And I really would encourage you to write those things down. What could you see yourself doing? Because for a lot of people, it's, I really want to create X, but they're not clear on what they need to do in order to create X. So do you need to learn more about technology? Do you need to learn more about, funnel building? What is it that you need to learn? If there was something you need to do, so what could you see yourself doing? And then what could you see yourself owning or having in your business? And it's important to understand that, because maybe you'd like to get a new computer. Maybe you'd like to get, a new cell phone. Maybe it's a new printer. And these are little key things that we think are insignificant, but they can make a significant difference if you work towards something over a period of time. And I know that this works, because I set myself a goal last year to do a course. And when I started, I had absolutely no idea how I was going to generate the income for this course. And the course was 10,000 US. And it was around July, and I discovered the course was happening in December. And I had, at that point, was probably, I wasn't generating that much income that I could pay for the course over the next sort of August, September, October, over the next 5 months. I didn't see how I could make it happen. And so it was the end of July. So July was already gone. So I actually had August, September, October, November. And then the course was sort of mid-December. So I had 4.5 months to generate that $10,000. And I set the intention that that's what I was going to do. And my whole focus shifted from just running through my business every day, just to suddenly I had a big dream and a big goal to work towards. And I was able to generate that income by the end of October. So I did it in 3 months. And I actually shocked myself because when I started, I didn't know that I could do that. But I set the intention, I gave myself, I had a plan, I had a goal. What could I see myself doing? Well, I was going to work extra hours. What could I see myself being? Well, I could see myself being a really, really great processor, and then I could build up my client base, and I could do a whole lot of things. What could I see myself owning or having? Well, it was having the course. And I had a clear goal. I had a clear financial intention. I knew exactly what I needed. And because I could see it, I could create it. And one of the things is, Alan talks about, if you can't define it, you can't have it. And Kristen, I have no doubt that you see this with your patients from a biokineticist point of view. If you give them an exercise to do and they do not believe that they can do it, will they be able to do it? And maybe you can share some of your experiences with that.
Thanks, Nicole. Yeah, it's also one of those things where you assume that the client can do an exercise because they've been gymming for X number of years. So obviously they know how to do it. But if you aren't clear on what they can and can't do, if you haven't got the communication from them, like with what they battle with, how they're functioning in that, then it's very difficult to get them to see what it should look like. Because also what gets in the way is I know how to do that. So like almost like I don't need your help for you to show me how to do that. And then it creates problems because, well, I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm not getting any better. Something else is getting even more sore now. And yeah, the one, I have a client that comes to mind, and it was one of those where it was very difficult in the beginning because he'd been like gymming and sporty and that for such a long period of time, that just to be able to get him to come and see me and work with me so that I could be able to help him was a challenge. He's like, oh, I know how to do that. And I've done this for so long. I know how to fix it. And eventually when he started to come see me was we did an assessment, and it was exactly what you're talking about, locating where you're actually at and then being able to help them see, well, this is where you're at, where would you like to be, and creating that point A from here, let's help you get there, and this is what it looks like along the way. And when I did that, it was a lot easier to help him like see the value that I had in showing him the exercises that would help him get to point B, and for him to be diligent in doing them. And it created a lot more confidence in me, a lot more confidence in himself, and it created a lot more consistency with doing the exercises, because there was that clear vision of what it looked like. And like you say, if you can't define it, you can't have it. So knowing what the exercise actually looks like and what it's actually supposed to be doing and what the result of it is was just like, oh wow, I can generate so much more power because I can do this exercise and these muscles are working so well. So it definitely is something worth doing to be able to create that point B and know exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
And you brought up a really great point around when you're doing the exercise correctly, because there was an end result. He knew what the end result was. Suddenly it was in the interest of the client to do the exercise properly, because now I can actually feel that I'm generating power. I can feel that I'm doing this. And now there's a willingness to do it because they can see what the end result is going to look like. And the same would be true in your business. And in the things that you're doing, when you can see the end result, it is so much easier to do something. So if you set yourself a goal, like I want to get a new printer, and it's so much easier if you've got a picture of the printer, you know what the printer looks like, you've seen the price of it, you know how much it costs, you know how many cartridges it's going to use every single month, you know exactly what it's going to do, how many prints it does. And suddenly now it's so much easier to make a phone call to close a client. It's suddenly so much easier to accept the no from the client. It's suddenly so much easier to go, okay, great, well, that didn't work. Well, what can I do to make it work? Whereas when you're sitting down here in the red zone and you can't see the vision and you can't see anything, when you get well, that didn't work, so then you go, oh, I'm so useless. Oh, nothing works. Everything's, and it becomes tough and it becomes hard, and it's like, it's the energy, it's energy draining to actually do anything. Whereas when you are clear on what it is that you want to work towards, then now you can take the next step and you can keep going and you can get unreasonable about it. Because for me, I became unreasonable about the course. It was like, I am going to do this. I don't care what I need to do to make it happen. And so, yes, I found myself in October was probably one of my most hectic months. And some days I was working from 5 in the morning until 11 at night. And Kristen knows this, I ended up struggling now in terms of having a few issues with my back, because I spent the whole day in my chair sitting, working with clients instead of exercises and stretching. So it was a great lesson for me around there was a price to be paid somewhere else. And it was like, great, okay, good, I achieved the goal. Next time I will set it up very differently. And I will be not set myself a goal to do it in 5 months, and just put a little bit more planning into it and become a little bit more aware. And for me, that's so exciting because it's lessons. Those are the lessons along the way, is like, how do I get better at it? How could I do it differently? How could I improve on it? But if I go back, it starts with just those key goals around your business for 2021, is that, what are the thoughts that you are putting out there? That I am going to create this in my business this year, and I'm going to create this in my business this year, and I'm going to have this. What am I going to be in my business? And, for some of you, it may be, I'm going to be a better leader. And yes, it's not tangible to see, but what do you need to do in order to become a better leader? And what are some of the things you need to learn? What are the things you need to change? So it is key to understand that the thoughts that you have are going to create energy, and they will give you energy to create something more or something less. So when you start off, one of the first questions that I asked everybody was, do you have the available power and energy to make it happen? Okay, great. So some of you said yes, and some of you said no. Okay, so that's our starting point. Okay, so the next thing is, how do we start to create that energy? How do we start to make it happen? And the number one thing is to start taking action. If you are sitting in a space where you don't have the available energy and power to make it happen, what are you going to do to unlock or uncover the greatness inside of you? And everybody has greatness inside of them. A lot of people are just sitting in that space where they don't believe it, or they don't know how to access it, or whatever it is. So the first thing that I really want to encourage you is to start taking action. And I know, Kirsten, working with your patients, it's the first thing you tell them, right? Start taking some action. Yes?
Yes, most definitely. Best place to start.
And yeah, when you're working with your clients, the first thing you want to know is, how much action are they currently taking? Correct?
100%. Yeah, because you want to know exactly where they're at. Because if you have a patient who is sitting doing absolutely nothing the whole day, you're not going to get them running 5Ks the next day and immediately jumping into it. So it's very key to know how much action they're taking, and from there gauge what steps you can put in place to help them achieve that goal at a gradient that is suitable for them.
Yeah, and the same would be true in your business, is that do you know how much action you're actually taking in your business? And when we say action, it's like action that's going to generate your business results. Because I know something that I struggle with, is that, and I'm seeing the effects now, is that I set myself that goal to generate a whole lot of business. So what I did is I did a whole lot of work. I generated a whole lot of business, and then I spent all my time filling that business. So October, November, December, I had like zero time, because I was still filling all the business that I had generated. And then come January, it's like, oh, where did all my clients go? Why? Because I hadn't kept filling the funnel, and I hadn't kept taking the right action in my business. And so it's just, are you aware of that action? Because if I had just taken a little bit of time in November and December to connect with prospects or new clients, it would be a lot easier for me come, January, February, that I've got an existing clients. So often this happens in businesses. We get so locked in being busy that we're not actually taking the right action to actually generate new clients, or keep that continuous feed of business going. So one of the things I would encourage you in terms of your business is, what action are you currently taking to generate sales and income in your business? And, is it that you need to do more online stuff? Is it that you need to make more phone calls? Is it that you need to do more Facebook posts? Is it that you need to employ somebody to do social media? What is the action that's going to generate income in your business? Because a lot of people get stuck in, and I say this myself, I get stuck in, I'm working with the clients, and I have a client that has a 6-month contract, and then, after their 6 months contract is up, that's it. Then what? And unless I keep feeding that pipeline and keep driving clients into it, I have to work on that on a regular basis. Now, the same would be true in terms of working with yourself. How do you generate the energy within yourself? Well, stop and look at what action are you taking in terms of your physical health and wellness. Because a lot of us we make all these wonderful New Year's resolutions. I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do whatever. And what happens is, come the end of January, we haven't delivered half of those things that we promised to ourselves. So what is it that you're doing to take action in your life right now? So are you getting up setting yourself a goal that you're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you are going to the gym, or you're walking or exercising? Or is it a case of every evening you're going to set aside half an hour to go for a walk? And those little things is one of the things that will start to give you energy and power within your body to shift your mind. Because a lot of us think, it just starts with, I'm just going to one day wake up and ping, everything's going to work. No, it doesn't work like that. We've got to start physically moving our body. And like Kristen said, one of the things, like, she can't expect a patient that's been sitting on the couch for the last 3 months to run 5Ks tomorrow. She's got to work with that patient and that client and build them up to a point where they can do that. And the same would be true if you want to generate energy in your body. It starts with movement. You've got to start moving. You've got to be totally and utterly unreasonable with yourself. And when we're reasonable, we allow ourselves to get away with murder. We go into agreements that it's okay to do nothing. We go into the agreement that, oh, you know what, I've had such a busy day, and, I just deserve to sit on the couch and just watch Netflix and instead of being unreasonable means, no, I'm breaking all those agreements of it's okay. Unreasonable is, I'm going to walk every single day this week. That's it. And Kirst, in terms of your patients, what results do you see in the difference in patients that are unreasonable and versus the patients that are reasonable and go into agreements that it's okay if I don't do it this week, and we'll start again next week?
So it makes me laugh because there are always those two extremes where, when you get those patients or clients who are really unreasonable and they know what their goal looks like and they're like completely sold out to it, that's the result they want to get, they actually start achieving it a lot quicker. It's easier for them to plan their day and it seems magical, but because they're so focused, everything just fits into their day, and they're able to make everything work and shift and fit into what they want to do. And you just see, you can see them achieving their goals, and they start achieving these other things along the way that they didn't even know that they wanted to achieve or didn't even know was important to them. So, like, for instance, I remember a client who I was helping just to get generally fit and lose some weight and just feel better about themselves. And as she started to lose weight, being a hockey player and a tennis player and that sort of thing, she started to see how much more incredibly she could play both games. She could move a lot more easily around the court or the hockey field, and she was so much more agile, and her game improved, and she started moving up in teams. And it was all these little added bonuses that really started to add to the result that she was already achieving. Whereas those people who are very reasonable with themselves, what I find with them is that, when you go into agreements of, I've been so busy, it's been such a hard and long day, I'm going to sit on the couch and have a chocolate and watch some Netflix. And what happens is generally those people end up moving further backwards from their goal, from where they even started, to even, like if we take the same lady, if she had been reasonable with herself, what happens with that kind of goal is that they end up putting on a bit more weight. They get a little bit more of a couch potato and can't actually shift past that because they're stuck there and unable to move from it.
Yeah, thank you. And I love the fact that you said around she started achieving other things that she didn't realize. And that's when we look at the green zone. Once you start to shift yourself from the red zone, wrong place, wrong time, wrong things, and you start to shift yourself into the green zone, you find you're in the right place at the right time, and suddenly there's another opportunity to do something, and suddenly there's another client that suddenly says, oh, you know, I'd love to refer you to this client. And because you're taking all that action and you're putting yourself and you're getting results, you're going to find that things will come from you from places that you least expect in your business. And I know I certainly saw that in terms of my business. And there were so many little things that Kristen said, it almost seems to go magical, because from having my diary all over the place, my diary suddenly I was able to put it onto a booking appointment form, and I was able to do a whole lot of things that I had never even considered before, because it's just like I don't have time to send 5 emails back and forth trying to make an appointment with somebody that's in the US and try and work out the time zones and whatever. It was just easy. I just made a booking form and had clients book directly, or here's the link. And so it became one email. So I suddenly became incredibly effective because I was so unreasonable with it. And Tanya said, I'm completely reasonable with myself. And Shalene said, ditto. Thank you. I appreciate that you share that, because half of the problem with being reasonable is a lot of times people are not willing to admit that they are being reasonable. And as soon as you understand that you are being reasonable and you don't want to be there anymore, you can change and you can get unreasonable. And I just know, in terms of one of the things that I had set myself a goal at the beginning of 2020 was to maintain my fitness. And even though I was working from 5 to 11, and in those 3 months, I still was making sure that I was working out at our CrossFit box a minimum of 3 to 4 times a week. I still was able to maintain my fitness level, even though I did hurt, my back was really in a lot of pain. I still was able to do that and maintain that. And it would have been so easy for me to get reasonable with my health. It would have been easier to say, you know what, it's okay. I'm not my back's sore and I'm really, really busy and I'm not gonna keep going to the box. But I also know the value of when you are moving your body, it is so much easier to keep your mind clear. And so it starts with that. It starts with those little things, those little habits that you create. Get unreasonable with yourself. Whether you're an employee, a business owner, it doesn't matter. Start putting your body into action, because you will start to resolve a lot of issues in your mind. Your mind will shift its focus and it will start to see the positive things. So that is one of the things that when you look at thoughts create energy. If you are sitting doing nothing and you've got nothing to put your thoughts on, your thoughts you're gonna have millions of them and they're not going to be great. And you're going to start going, oh, I'm so useless. I can't do anything. And that's the energy that you're going to create. And I certainly don't want that for you. And I'm pretty sure you don't want that for you. So, and that's where those 4 questions at the beginning that I asked yourself is that in terms of your business, what is the goal? Where do you see your business going? What is it that you want to create out of your business? What do you see yourself being? What do you see your business being? What do you see your business doing? And what do you see your business owning? And when you have those goals, and it doesn't matter how big or small they are, get clear on the goals, get clear on being unreasonable about it. Like I mentioned, if you want to get a printer, be unreasonable about it. Set a date, set a time, I'm going to go and buy it from this place, or I'm going to get it online, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. And what that does is it teaches you the ability to create. It teaches you and it also teaches you the ability to reach. So your thoughts are now thoughts about reaching for something and getting something and creating something, rather than the thoughts around, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna, a person said, eat chocolate and watch Netflix. As nice as that is, it's nice to do it once in a while, but trust me, it's not good for you to do it every day. It's not great for your business. It's not great for your finances. It's not great for a lot of things. So it is important to know that you can change your life for the better just by doing little things, little increments. Set yourself little goals and start to work towards them, and get unreasonable about those goals. They are not negotiable. I certainly know for me it wasn't negotiable in terms of the goal that I had to do that course, because it's not a course that happens regularly. It's a course that happens once a year. And it was like, if I don't do it in December, I'm going to wait a whole another, when I set the target, it was sort of August, and it was like, I'm going to be waiting almost 18 months to do that again. That's not negotiable. I will do it in December, and it's not negotiable. It will happen then. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. And just there were so many little things and benefits that came along the way, which allowed me to be here in the green zone, right place, right time. And as I said, my action was incredibly effective. And Kristen, with your patients, when they get unreasonable about goals, what do you see?
Thanks, Nicole. So yeah, when my patients are getting unreasonable with themselves, you see this incredible amount of focus and determination being set out to achieve that goal that they want to achieve. You see a lot of energy being created so that they can and directed in a way that is effective and efficient, so that they can achieve that goal. I mean, I've seen patients who've come in and have all this energy and like this power that they want to direct into getting some kind of result, whether it's to get healthier, lose weight, get fit, whatever it may be. But when they're not focused and they're not directing it in a way that they know exactly what it looks like, it sort of goes all over the place, and they look from pillar to post of different things to do and how they can get the same results in a shortcut or whatever the case may be. But when you're sold out to what the result looks like, and you're able to see what it looks like, you're able to create that energy and funnel it in towards that goal. And it really makes it look so much easier, so effortless. And as much as it may not be, and like some patients have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to see me, and that, like, some mornings it's really, really difficult, but once they've done it, they're like, oh, I ticked another box, I did my session, I'm still working towards my goal. And it just helps to get the ball rolling again and create that motivation. So it's really, really powerful when you get unreasonable with yourself.
Thank you. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because this is something that happened to me when I was working with Kristen and she was helping me with my back, is that sometimes the pain shifted. And we had, I remember going to see her, I'm in agony, and her response was, this is so exciting. And it was like, and the way she explained it to me was, this is what's supposed to happen. And because I had no idea that that's what was supposed to happen, I was disappointed. And after having seen her, and she had gone through, oh, this is so exciting, this is what's supposed to happen, and it means that these muscles are now working correctly, and this is what's, and the right things are happening. I left there feeling really, really excited and going, okay, great, I'm on the right track, I've got the right things happening. And the reason why I bring that up is because, and I'm sure, Kirst, you see that a lot of times with patients. Would that be correct? They come in and they go, oh, this is...
they're almost like, oh, it's a complete disaster. I've caused some other issue and something else is going wrong. And when you're like, actually, it's a really good sign. And you just help them shift that perspective as to what's actually happening. It's amazing how that shift in mindset actually happens.
And the reason why I bring that up is because in your businesses, as you start to take action, are you getting advice from the right people as to, is this what should be happening? And in terms of your health, are you getting advice from the right people? Because a lot of us will go to the people that we know and the people that we're comfortable talking to. And I know that if I had gone to, just anybody and said, you know what, this is what's happening, and they would have been, oh, you need to, you need to stop exercising, you need to stop doing this, and you need to change this. But no, I went back to the expert. I went back to Kristen and said, this is what's happening. I made sure that I got advice from the right place. And the same was true in my business, is that as I was working towards the goals, I was checking in with my accountant regularly to say, this is where I'm at, this is what's happening, these are the things that are happening in my business. And she was encouraging me along the way as well, saying, you could try this or do this. So it is important that when you start working towards those goals, that you are getting advice from the right people, because things are going to shift and change. Things are going to pivot. Just like in my body, I felt pain in a different place because now suddenly I was using the right muscles, and those muscles hadn't been used before. And the same thing is going to happen in your businesses and whatever it is that you're doing. As you start to do more and more of the right things, you're going to feel different things. Other things are going to move in. And it's important that you are connected to the right people that can help you when you start taking action. So you don't think that it's a bad thing. And I know, I don't know, I guess about 18 months ago, I started doing CrossFit, and I was so grateful for Kristen again, because I started getting aches and pains, and I think I've hurt my neck, and or my neck started to get sore, and she was like, it's great, because what it is, it's your body aligning in the right place. And so when you start something like CrossFit, it's going to show you all the niggles that are in your body. It's going to show you all the weaknesses. And Kirsten, I'm sure you've seen many people like that. Yes, maybe you can just share.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny, like when you start doing something like functional with your body, and that it generally does bring up all these little areas where you have weaknesses, or like you experienced, where you think those muscles are working, but they actually haven't, because you've been compensating in some way or another. And just saying that, it makes me think about the journey that I've been on with my mindset, and that it's the same sort of thing. It's like once you start working towards it, all these little things come up, these little niggles, and once you understand them, you can align them and align everything properly. Like your body comes into alignment, you work on the little niggles, and everything just comes together to just make you a little bit stronger, make you a little bit more functional and more efficient and effective, like with regards to your body, with movement, and with what you want to do with your body and your movement. So yeah.
No, thank you. And business is no different. And when you start making those shifts and things, you're going to have niggles that come in. You're going to have things that you don't understand. You're going to have things that you can't see. And if you are being unreasonable with your business, and you're being unreasonable with the things that are happening, you will get advice from the right place. And you will find mentors that are willing to work with you. And I was listening to a YouTube clip from Alan Walters, and he was just talking about, what are you worth? Because when you say, oh, I can't afford that, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that I'm not worth that? And in the beginning, when you start to set yourself goals, are you setting yourself a goal? Like in terms of, when I set myself a goal to do that course, and I was like, it's $10,000 US, I was like, just about like, there's no ways. I didn't believe that I could do that. But it's like, I'm worth that. I know that I'm worth that investment in myself. So are you looking at it going, I can't afford that? Or are you going, I can't afford not to do that? Because I'm worth it. My business is worth it. Those things are worth it. Because when you sit back and say, well, I can't afford to buy a book to grow my business, or I can't afford an accountant, or I can't afford to do things, properly. What message are you sending yourself and your mind? Are you sending yourself a message of, I'm not worth it? So, and that's where I know, in terms of, it's so important to look at it and go, okay, so right now I don't have the finances for that, but how can I create the finances for it? How can I afford it? How can I make an accountant in my business work? How can I make, a mentor? How can I invest in this, that, or the next thing, whatever it is? If it's whatever personal development platform you're using, how can you afford that? How can you invest in it? Because that is where thoughts create energy. If you're telling yourself that I can't afford that, I can't afford a full-time accountant or a full-time bookkeeper, the message that you are sending yourself and your business is that I don't matter, my business doesn't count, and I'm not worth it. So change that, get unreasonable, change that thinking and go, how can I afford it? How can I invest in it? What can I do to create it? And I know, like with Robert Kiyosaki, in terms of, he wanted to get a fancy car. I think it was a Ferrari, or I don't know what car it was, the yellow Ferrari. And what he did was he generated enough income to cover the cost of that vehicle through other means, so that he wasn't paying for it out of his savings. And what he did was, and it's such a great example of even the wealthy think like that. I'm worth it. I'm going to generate enough income that I can afford it, that I can create it. And that's what he did when he, and in terms of I know it's in his book, and Kim talks about it quite a lot, but it's just, that's what they did, is they set themselves, I'm worth it. I'm going to create the income to create that. And we need to do the same thing. Is, what is it that I want? Okay, I want my business to be successful. What do I need to do to create that? Well, I need an accountant in my business. Okay, great. I need to get professional advice on my numbers. I need to understand my numbers. I need to know exactly what's happening. Okay, great. Well, right now, I don't have enough income coming out of my business to pay for an accountant. Okay, what do I need to do to generate that? Okay, great. I need to either increase, I need to sell more time, or I need to sell more products, or whatever it is. But have you been to the accountant? Have you got a quote from the accountant? Do you know how much the accountant's going to cost you every month? Because if you haven't done that, you're not going to go and generate the income, because we have this perception of, oh, an accountant's so expensive and I can't afford one, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas when you actually go and sit with them and you get a quote, and you know how much they're going to cost, and you know how much you're generating out of your business, now you can create a plan and you can put steps in place to make it happen. Just like if I have a sore back, if I go see Kirsten, I know I'm going to get a quote from her. I'm going to ask her how many sessions, a week, a month, what do I need to do? How much time do I need to set aside? What are the exercises you're going to give me? How can we make this work? And I certainly know with Kirsten, like, I could have set it up that I see her every day, or she designed a program for me, and I could do the exercises on my own. There's lots of different ways to make things work. But unless you are taking the steps to put that in place, you don't actually know what it is that you're working towards. So it is a key thing to do, is that be clear on what is it that you want to achieve in your business. Look at those 4 questions. What is, in terms of, what is your business doing? What do you want to generate? All those things, and then put some steps in place, and then get unreasonable about it. And Kirst, anything you want to share on that?
Thanks, Nicole. It's just Something that what you're saying triggered in my mind is that whether you pay for your accountant or someone to look after your health now, so your business or your physical health, you're either going to pay for it now and do things properly and be able to maintain and manage things from the beginning, or you're going to pay for it somewhere along the line. Whether, like, for instance, I've seen a lot of people who are like, I really need to come and see you. I have X, Y, and Z. My blood pressure's through the roof. I need to change my lifestyle. And I'm coming to see you. I'm coming to see you. And about 2 years later, they still haven't come to see me. And they're paying for it through being in the hospital, having to have checkups, having to be on blood pressure medication, and that sort of thing. And so, like, it really is about investing in yourself, and you are really worth that time, that energy, that effort, the finance that you put into yourself to look after yourself and do things properly for yourself. Your business is worth it because the people you're reaching out to, they're worth it too, for you to do those things and to set up those things properly so that you can be successful. So yeah, what you say is really powerful, Nicole. You are worth investing in and are worth setting out that plan properly and pushing through the charge that comes up, because it's something that's going to create a really successful result for you and help others along the way. So thanks for sharing that, Nicole.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. And as you were talking, it's just sometimes we need reminders to remind ourselves that we're worth it. And, if it means you've got to put, I know for myself, I put a screensaver on my phone. And I know some people use sticky notes, and they put sticky notes around the place, and they stick them up on their mirror, and, I'm worth it. I'm enough. I deserve this. Whatever it is. And those are little things, and they kind of sound, they're so overrated, but they work. When you're reminded all the time, when you're feeling really, really, really not great, I was just like on my screensaver, I have this, I am enough. And it's a reminder. And often when I'm not feeling great, I need to remind myself. And so it's like, well, what do I need to remind myself? Okay, thoughts create energy. Okay, great. I need to remind myself that I'm enough. I need to remind myself that be unreasonable. And the other thing, it's also sometimes it's okay to give yourself permission to rest. And that's something that I know is that often we get so unreasonable, and we work towards these goals and that, and then what happens is we forget that sometimes we need to give ourselves permission, because I'm enough, because I've invested in myself, because I've done the work and I've created a lot of great things. It's okay for me to rest without feeling guilty, but I'm only going to rest when I've done the work. So it's important to know that unreasonable also sometimes, when and you'll know this is true for you, is when it's okay to be unreasonable with yourself. I'm not booking clients, I'm taking the day off and I'm going to rest for the day. That's very different to when I've been slothing on the couch watching Netflix for 3 days and it's now Thursday and I haven't created anything. And especially with COVID at the moment and people being forced to stay at home, it is so critical that you get unreasonable with some of those things. So I really want to encourage you to do that. And, in terms of if you don't have mentorship and you're looking for mentorship, we have the Entrepreneur Hangout platform. We really want to encourage you to use that platform. It is free. Then there is the paid version. But in terms of the paid version, there's a Q&A section where you can go on and ask questions and get some help. And, I often see it's like, well, we have the question and answer section and people aren't actually using it. They have all these questions, but they're too scared to ask. So because it's like, it seems like in my case, when I go back to, I was working with Kristen on my back and suddenly, sort of getting pains in my hips. And she was like so excited because that's what's supposed to happen. And in your business, like it's like almost like Kristen said, she's got clients that going, oh, it's a disaster. This isn't supposed to be happening and what have you, because we don't have the knowledge. but because she has the knowledge and she's mastered that area, she can say, that is what's supposed to happen. And often in terms of business, there's no silly question. There's no dumb question. The only thing would be the dumbest question is the one you don't ask. That's it. And that's the only dumb question, the one you don't ask. So Sully has posted that Entrepreneur Hangout link in the chat box. So if you haven't registered for Entrepreneur Hangout, go out, check out the platform. We'd love to have you join us. We'd love to be able to support you and see you get results. And in terms of next week, I'd love to be able to hear from you some of the things that you've been able to get unreasonable about this week. And just start to put, and some of the things that you've been able to put into action, or even if you just wrote out your goals for the year. What are some of those things that you've written out in terms of your goals for the year? And whether they're business goals, financial goals, health goals, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to, feel free to email us, email Nicole at uncoveringgreatness.co.za. We'd love to be able to hear from you, because sometimes it's just that accountability. If I've got somebody that I can send a message to that says that I can say, I did it. I wrote out my goals. It makes a difference. So do you have that accountability? From the team at Uncovering Greatness, we are more than happy to work with you in terms of have that accountability. We'd love to be able to help you. So we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Before I close off, does anybody have any questions or any comments that they would like to type into the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, Kristen, before we end off, is there anything you'd like to say to end off?
Thanks, Nicole. I would just like to say that, what you said is really powerful in terms of, if you don't know something or don't know what the question is, to ask, even, because I find that sometimes I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be asking. Like, reach out to someone, they'll help you figure out what the question is, because you probably already have the answer, you just don't know what it's for. And so just reach out. I experience it as well. I'm sure I'm the only one where it's really difficult to sometimes reach out and just ask for some help, but it's a very powerful thing to be able to do. So, and I was like that in the beginning of the year, and I reached out and asked for some help from Nicole, and I'm flying now, like really getting into the swing of things. So I'm very, very grateful for it, and just being able to reach out and get some help and get some direction and be able to have a great start to the year. So I encourage you guys to reach out and find some people who can help you in the areas that you want to work on. Thanks,
Thank
Nicole.
you, Kristen. So just in terms of next week, I'm really excited, because today we kind of set the groundwork around just what is it that you want to do. Next week, we are going to be looking at the dream and the intention and the vision. So we'd love to have you join us back here on Wednesday and start looking at the dream, the intention, the vision, and how do you start to use that dream and create something more out of it. So we'd love to have you back here next week, in terms of same time, same place, 3 o'clock on Wednesday. And thank you very much, Kristen, for being with us today. Thank you, everybody, for investing in yourself. And we look forward to seeing you back here next week. And special thank you to Sully and the Uncovering Greatness team for all their support. So thank you, everybody, and take care. Bye.